Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's show. I hope everybody is doing very well. I'm NinjaChris, and this is my silly history. And the topic that we've got this month is tartan. And everybody that I know that everybody around here will think tartan is just Scottish, but as I've been finding out, it's a bit worldwide is tartan because tartan is technically the plaid pattern. So technically anywhere that has these plaid checkered sort of patterns, it all counts as a tartan print because it was all an inspiration. So when you look at tartan, at the end of the day, it's a woven wool piece of cloth in whatever format you're using it as. The thing with tartan, it has to be lined horizontally and vertically. That's that way. Horizontally is that way. Okay, I know my directions. Don't worry, I'm good with that. So basically, they've got to, and it's got to be kind of symmetrical when they do it, because they are very, very strict over there in Scotland. When they do their tartan, they make sure everything's symmetrical, or else, well, I don't know what happens if they don't do it right. Get a wrist slap, or maybe they just have to start again. Because, well, they do look really, really difficult. I mean, when you see photos and stuff of them, they look really cool. But I also got to think that, wow, that person has gone through a lot of effort to make sure of the colours, because that's an important thing. There's got to be at least two colours, but some of them have more, which is the more complex version, because you've still got to get the symmetrical balance, which is really challenging, because I've seen some of the process of being made, and it's like, wow, you've got to make sure everything's in order, because you don't upset any people in the touching areas. And it comes in different variations of attires as well. So, I mean, everybody knows the kilt, I think. I mean, that's been going. You've been having those for years. I mean, the common way back in time was where you wear no underwear underneath. But I think things have changed over time, because during it as well. So yeah, not right back in that time. So hope hopefully we all wear underwear now, which would be brilliant. For the women, they have a kind of plaid skirt style, so they all wear stuff still, so they get the skirts out, but it's got that plaid type pattern on it still, so that's good. You still get the tartan pattern. So yeah, it's good. There's like one variation you usually see a lot of red, green, maybe a bit of black on there, the kind of colours that you seem to expect, but they're all different variations of colours nowadays. So it depends when you get around to the clan eras and stuff, it kind of all comes different colours, and reddish colours that are more for authority, because red was more for the Stuart household, the leaders of the Stuarts. I think that's correct. You also have like the blackish ones for what they call Black Watch, which is essentially the police of in that inclined format. So it's kind of like that's your military. So yeah, you got to work that through. For another woman's style of clothing, you've got an arased. I'm not sure if I've said that right, but it's essentially a dress, a woman's dress that's got the tartan pattern on it. I'm sure you can imagine a dress with tartan, because I remember, well, I don't remember it personally, but Queen Victoria in the Victorian era, she went all out for the tartan. she really wanted to push the tartan era. She went all out in her tartan dress. I'm not sure it was an asinid or however you say it. I'm not sure it was one of those, but I think she just went all out tartan dress, tartan shoes, probably a tartan handbag because you can get those as well. Sounds interesting. Got everything tartan around. So yeah, we got tartan sashes as well. There's those things that go around, I think. So yeah, tartan coloured sashes. So that all looks good, all clothing and stuff. And I found out there was something called a tonag. I think I got that right, which is basically a shawl, but smaller, because it's what a tonag is. It's a small shawl, and that is a bit of a tongue twister for me. Small shawl, yeah, you got it. Now, onto a bit of a timeline of when things happened, because as I say, tartan or the plaid pattern has been around for so long, and it wasn't actually in Scotland where this pattern started, because well, about 3,000 years ago, yeah, the tartan pattern actually started in China. So there's something for it. So it was Celtic Chinese actually that I don't know how they got over there, but I don't know if there was a tourism gap back then. But hey, apparently all the Celtics were over there. So they're what the people are what became Scotland, but they dug up her body and it had tartan on it. It had tartan on its bones and stuff like that. So imagine finding that and realizing somewhere over in China there was a tartan boned man. Interesting, wasn't it? But there's a lot of stuff you find over in China that you never really expected. But you know, they found it in the Talcamacan Desert in Xinjiang. They called it the Chechen man, I believe. So yeah, they found that guy and buried in there with a load of tartan attire over him. I'm not sure exactly how that looked, but that's where it began. That's where the pattern at least began. Because, well, as we carry on, we go to like the Gauls back in 29 to 19 BC. So we're not even into modern times yet, into the AD era. But again, the single Roman Gauls was, again, that's a bit all over Europe, but it comes mostly around the French area, but it's like Celtic France, but it goes over in Turkey and I think bits of Russia and down the Balkans area and Rome and stuff. So yeah, the Romans wore a bit of plaid patterning and tartan colours. So it really went around a bit. Went around. So yeah, the Romans had words for it as well, because they called it sagulis or sagalis, which translates into they shine in striped cloaks. That's obviously what they wore. They wore cloaks with the plaid pattern on. Which, yes, nowadays is tough. I'm just going to keep reiterating that. Yes, because I am using the words plaid, but back in these times, it would have been a plaid pattern because they probably wouldn't have known what tartan was back then. It wasn't until like the 16th century until tartan really became a thing, because it's the Scottish that made the tartan what it is today. How big tartan is today. So yeah, but we still got, so after the Roman Gauls and other in this kind of European area, because well, there's Celtic tribes, basically wherever the Celtics were traveling, that's where you were, because it was all kind of during like Gaelic wars and the Punic wars and stuff like that over, and they were all kind of sharing things, because when you had the Gaelic wars, obviously that's essentially between Scotland and Romans, but obviously England were involved in that, so it was all a fight back then in the Roman times, so they were all having a little bit of a go at each other, but some of them were just wearing plaid patterns. So, well, they've got to have some sort of attire, though. I think it's a bit more mixed. It was a bit more mixed before we got into the 16th century, so it was all a bit all over the place. I mean, in 217 AD, they invented something called the Falkirk Tartan. Tartan? Where did the Titan come from? The Titan Tartan. That's the fighting one. That's the one that you wear for fighting. I don't know. I just invented that one, but no. The Falkirk Tartan. Falkirk Tartan in 217 AD, or around that. It was, well, Falkirk, apparently it's near the Antonine Wall. Roman emperor. One of the good emperors, actually, in the Roman times. Antonini Wall. I can't remember how to say it, but anyway. Denmark and Sweden were also involved in the tartan pattern getting around. So it's all the Anglo areas, because you got to remember Denmark were always getting involved in, because we had the Anglo-Saxons at a later date. So that was kind of like Denmark was always kind of involved in that area. So yeah, that's what's going to happen, I'm afraid. All the patterns are going to come over, or going to share, or when you got the Vikings, they all kind of took over. So it's kind of the way it was. But up in Scotland, you kind of just got the brunt of it, or Caledonia, as it was back then. So when you're in Caledonia, they obviously wore clothes. They obviously wore plaid clothes. Apparently, they wore some sort of load of cloaks back in the 7th and 8th centuries. So, but it used to be something that they all had to make themselves. I think it just kind of, maybe accidentally, they made it into a pattern, but it's something they had to make while they're at home. I don't know how good their homes were back then. I think they were just like little tents or little huts back then. So you had to kind of work with what you've got. So they probably made little plaid patterns, but they probably weren't doing it to a creation or doing it to a sort of specific. It just happened to be a sort of pattern. But yeah, it's kind of how it was. You all had to kind of home make it. There was nothing clan. It was just for you. However you decided you wanted your cloaks or whatever made. So that happened. And then we got to like the 13th and 15th centuries. They kind of found the Mongols. I think this might be going back to the Chinese sort of area, because Mongolia is quite close, and the Mongols had something called a Tartar. I always laugh at that. It's like Tartar, but anyway, yeah, they had that sort of thing. It's not the it's called Tartar, but it's nothing like the tartan we have up in Scotland. So pattern instead, the pattern is usually kind of like a animal print essentially, but it does kind of make shapes over there. So, as I say, it was a little bit kind of all over the place back then. It was kind of like you just make that pattern. Okay, well done. That's a good pattern, and now you'll wear it. Because well, back then it was kind of fight for yourself. You kind of just work with whatever material you could get hold of. But that's something that was brought about. Anyway, I'm gonna take a little drink before we get into this when Scotland got involved in it all, because that's where we're going next. I just want to say hello to a few people after I've had a drink and everything. So yeah, hello. Joanne, glad you're here. Well done. Since this is your topic, I'm glad to have you here. And Claire and Anna, obviously, I'm glad to have you around. So it's brilliant to see you all here. And Mr. Meow Meow. Love that name. But I know you've been here before, but that's a cracker of a name, that is. Mr. Meow Meow. I love it. Well, I'm glad you are, Joanne. I hope it's all accurate to you. But we've not really got into when it became Scottish yet. We're still kind of in the area where it's Caledonia and it's still around the world, and we've still got quite a lot to cover yet, right? But Sam, sorry, he's off the screen at the moment. I'm just looking down at the list. I'm kind of on a kind of new system. If you want to ask a question and if I don't answer it or if I don't respond to you, I will get to you if you keep asking. If you're desperate for me to ask or you're desperate for me to say hello to you, I will try. Well, I'm glad you're here, Meow Meow. I'm glad you made one. But I'm always here once every month, and I'm always happy to talk with you. If you ain't you? Yeah. That 1815 was when the Scottish clans took over, but there was still a little bit before that, because in the 16th century, was when they first found a piece of Scottish tartan, because it was how the heck do you say that? I typed it, but I'm like, how do I say that? Glen Affic tartan. It was discovered in a place called a peat bog, or that's the name of the bog, peat bog, so it's kind of marshy land, but they found it there. It was under the rule of King James V, so that was from about 1513 to 1542, give or take around that time, just to give you a little area of where it was. So it's about that time where they found that. It's in a museum now, and it looks really faded, but if you look closely, you can see tartan lines on there. So it is there. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, there's also been portraits taken. I mean, John Michael Wright is quite a portrait taker. He did a lot in the 17th century about taking portraits of famous people just wearing tartan, like big leaders and stuff. But yeah, in the 18th century, so that's like the 1700s, in 1703, we started bringing in like the regional tartans, which is basically anything that's not clan. It's just regional to where you are. So it might be anywhere. I mean, England itself, we have our own kind of brand of tartan. But again, at the end of the day, tartan is just a plaid pattern. So we see loads of patterns that are cubed and nicely shaped out. So it might not be labelled as tartan, but it is still technically the same pattern. So yeah, well, I'm glad you wear clothes, Joanne. I'm glad about that. Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Regional, it depends on where you are, dependent. But they all have that kind of checkered looking pattern. I mean, we'll get to the other cultures in a bit, but I'm just trying to cover the Scottish area, because it was you guys in Scotland who made tartan as popular as it is today. Fully clad just now. Or glad was that meant to be? I'm not sure. Oh yes, thank you. Yes, I don't think Sam would realize that I posted the photo of that from the outreach earlier, and I feel like I'm going off topic a little bit here, but anyway, I'm just enjoying myself. I'm covering the tartan like I asked, but having a nice relaxed chat as well. So I don't I don't really mind how it goes, as long as my notes aren't wasted, and I just hope that you take something away from this. And yeah, as I mentioned to Joanne earlier, I mentioned about the Scottish clans and everything. They came in 1815. So yeah, they had all so many different colours and so many different styles. I honestly, it was such a list. I can't remember much of it. It was like McLeod clans, and that's about the only one I think I can remember. But honestly, when it comes to, there wasn't enough room for me to type it all down, but there's definitely so many clans, and kind of what made the Highland Games so great, because of how many clans that could take part in it. And the thing is, it might not have been called the Highland Games, but there has been games in Scotland since 1031. I think it was in 1703 where some sort of clans got involved when it was like team games and stuff. But it was all between the Highlands, but they had the Lowlands and they had the borders as well. Some people on the Isles, so it goes around. So it's good to see that you get very sporty and you travel around. It's kind of like, and essentially, it's kind of like when I was talking about the Olympics last month. And like, you just travel in a certain different location, and you all have wonderful stuff that you have to do, while also wearing your tartan kilts and stuff like that. But what I've noticed from seeing a bit of the Highland Games, it's mostly about the show, because I see a lot of like dancing in kilts or dresses and stuff that have got the tartan pattern on. So they really love to put a show on there for the entertainment purposes, because well, bagpipes have the tartan pattern around it as well. So they have all the clothes as well. Well, I was more mentioning about women's clothes, but there's a massive. You can get a massive get up that's like a suit of tartan, proper, well dressed, well groomed suit, which looks really good. I mean, it looks really good on a person, because you see a picture of a person, it's like, that looks really good actually. Maybe not my style, but it looks good. It fits nicely, and yeah, it doesn't look out of place. I really like it. Xbox tartan, yellow and black. Oh, there was some yellow and black ones I saw, but there was also a few yellow and black ones. There was like blue one. Actually, I think there was a blue one, but actually I think that's in the other cultures section that I'll be doing in a bit, which is actually part of the United States, because I do believe that was to do with the Air Force. The blue one, which was the United States clan, and that was the Air Force back in the 1990s. I'm not sure totally if it's still going. They still use that pattern now, but it's a nice idea that the United States got involved in the tartan area. But yeah, we also have like regimental tartans in uniform, which all started back in 1603. So way before the clans came in. In 1603, they had the independent Highland companies, which is basically militias and stuff like that, which started in 1603 and they ended in 1760. So, well, they were going on around a while. But the first Highlanders in Tartan, they were from 1603 to 1616. And from 1631, we had Highland mercenaries, which it sounds all tough guy. They've got to protect where they are. Well, I guess that's sort of how it is. And we have the Royal Company of Archers, which started in 1676, and they're still going today, which is a private archery club, because they were a bodyguard. They're essentially a bodyguard for royalty. And a good example of that is 1822, when they had to protect George IV, because, well, he was coming over to Scotland and he was trying to show his respect for Scotland, because they just recently got off their Dress Act from the Jacobite risings, where they finally got the ability to wear their kilts and clothes again, because they had to stop that in the Dress Act in 1746. But in 1782, they finally got that annulled. It was them, that Jacobite risings, because they did that from 1715, 1719, and it all finished in 1745. It was all about trying to restart the Stuarts again, because we were heading into the Georgian era at that point. But they didn't like that. The Stuarts wanted to bring the Roman Catholic area back, so they had to try and fight for it with the Jacobites. And they lost, because we ended up with the Georgian area in the House of Hanover. So, yeah, sorry, lads, but you can't have the Stuart era back, I'm afraid. That's the way it is. That was James II who started the Catholic area, hence the Jacobite, which is basically, I think, it in a different country language, it actually stands for James. So it was James I who brought back the Roman Catholic. So they were under protest to get him back on the throne, because he was brother to Charles II, who was Protestant, and all of them before that were Protestants. But they were all against having James II, because he was Roman Catholic, and they tried to get away from that, because it was Queen Elizabeth I was the first Protestant, which moved into the Stuart era, because it got Scotland really excited, because we've got some Scottish blood around there. Now let's have the Stuarts coming down into Scotland. Oh yes. So yes, we kind of had to combine, and we combined properly in 1707, when we had to do the Acts of Union. So we all came together nicely, nice little family, all the way until the 1800s, where Ireland joined us, and they had another Act of Union, until Ireland decided to separate off, and one of them had a republic. But yeah, get back onto the tartan, Chris. Get back onto the tartan. Yes. So yeah, I think I was on King George IV, and just went woo all the way off. So yeah, he wore a tartan kilt when he came there. Had a big party situation. It was a big, had everybody out, but yeah, we had to have his archery club out, making sure he's well protected, his bodyguards, because, well, it was still a bit tense between England and Scotland, so we never knew what was going to happen, because there was still some people who were for and some who were against wearing somebody else wearing the tartan pattern. But it was all good after that. After 1822, it went all fine. Everybody was happy, and they all enjoyed themselves, which leads us into the Victorian era, which obviously lasts from 1837 to 1901, because that was when Queen Victoria was on the throne for that length of. So she did all right. About, was that 60 years? I'm terrible with numbers, but here I am trying again. But yeah, Queen Victoria, yes, she really wanted to promote Scotland and their tartan, which I really respect her for doing that. She really wanted to get it all out there for everybody. So up to 1901, she just got it promoted out there. Everybody was kind of out there wearing tartan and everything, and really appreciating it, because it came to England, and we're all over the world nowadays. We're all just enjoying the tartan pattern. We're appreciating it. We're not in clans or anything like that, because that kind of all kind of died down. I think we still have clans and stuff, but it's not as high, it's not as big as it used to be on the clans. It was more fighty back then. Fight, 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 fight. But it was more for wars. You needed to know which clan you were part of, so the pattern had to be the same. And I remember me saying that they had to be strict with the patterns that they did. Had to be perfectly strict. So yeah, we had to. But when Queen Victoria was on the throne, she was pushing it wonderfully, and she had a wonderful tartan coloured dress. I mean, it looked great because there was a photo. There was obviously photos of it. Of course, they're going to have photos of it. If they've got photos, they're going to show them off. But yeah, I'm glad that England and Scotland happy to unite, and Wales as well. But Wales has been part of England for so many years before. I think we won those over, well, many years ago. I don't think we had to really win them over. I think we pretty much, yep, we'll follow you. Wales will follow. But yeah, we had to have a bit of trouble with Ireland to try and get them on board. In the end, we only got Northern Ireland. It is what it is. We got part of Ireland at least. But it's just nice to have people on board, though, isn't it? Then after we done the Victorian era, we have something called the Tartan era, which started in 1973, and it's still going on today. It's basically kind of a modern, stereotypical look on the Scottish culture, kind of like kitsch, which is a naive imitation of it. They also have a Tartan Day where they appreciate the world of tartan, and that's celebrated all over the world, which is amazing how they can just celebrate that sort of thing. I mean, it's amazing stuff that they can do. Another break again. Ooh, half an hour. Ooh. April the 6th. Right. Okay, cool. Deanne, oh, hey. Good to see you as well. Lovely. Oh, Cecilia, I see you popping in there. Hello. Notice there's quite a lot. There's a lot of organisational tartan as well, because I've got Burberry down as one of the examples, which is a company design, but I've seen the Burberry bags, and well, yep, they definitely look tartany. Love that. Tartany. Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you're. Yeah. Well, I gotta try and do a little bit of advertising for Kitten Academy because they're wonderful people. I've always got Kitten Academy on in the background, but I decided I couldn't find a tartan shirt, so I thought, oh, why not? I'll just advertise Kitten Academy, hey? Everybody here seems to love Kitten Academy, and those of you who aren't too keen on Kitten Academy or you don't know what Kitten Academy is, you could just search for it on YouTube. Or you can click the links in my description because I'm quite adept at pushing them along. So there's websites and there's how to donate to them and everything. So you can get along with them, follow them, support them. They'll welcome anything. I just want to help them along because it's something that's really close to my heart, and I really love Kitten Academy. I love the kittens, and they're so silly. None of them are on camera right now, but yeah, we get the idea. Where are we now? I can't remember where I am. James Bond. Yes. Yeah. Sean. Was it not Sean Connery? No, it is Sean Connery, isn't it? He dressed up in his Scottish kilt. There was saw a photo of that. He was celebrating, I think, Tartan Day. It from Washington, I believe. He was there in his tartan gear and everything. Just saying, yeah, I'm Scottish. I'm appreciating the Scottish. So yeah, but I do believe that stars do celebrate it, especially if they are Scottish themselves. And who better than to celebrate it than him? Though I may have got the wrong actor, but it is what it is. There is actor Sean. Right, I did get it right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm just slipping up here. Ooh. It's getting warm now. Maybe I'm warm because I'm keep bouncing around. Bounce, bounce, bouncy, bouncy. But I love chatting with you guys. I love seeing that you all come here. Oh yeah, Sean Connery was it's definitely one of the best anyway. It's one of the first. Actually, I think he was the first. But anyway, it's been years since I've actually seen James Bond, and that's all changed over the years. And I really feel like I'm going way off topic here. But it's nice to chat to you all, and I'm going to, because I've done all of the Scottish bit of the tartan now. Yes, I have to travel the world a little bit now with the other cultures because there's stuff that happens in the Africa area because there's something called a Maasai Shuka, which is with the Nilotic peoples in southern Kenya and northern Tanzania, which are very closed in, I think it's like South Africa or something like that. My geography isn't brilliant, but it's in Africa somewhere. But yeah, it's the sort of thing I think they have to make for themselves because it's not exactly the richest of countries down there. So it's them sort of things that they have to make. It's kind of just a little wraparound sort of thing that they just have to chuck over them. So it's not the highest of quality, but they've got to wear something. Then we're going to Bhutan, which is called the Bhutanese Mathra, which is, well, it has a men's dress and a woman's dress. So the men's dress robe is a cho, and the women's dress robes is a kira. And people had to wear it mandatory in public in 1963. So in Bhutan, they have their own version of tartan patterns as well. Could be a bit more of a checked pattern, but it still works because it's just a pattern. It's got to have that plaid tartan type pattern. But it's good to have things from other countries pass over because it's not. It just proves that tartan isn't all Scottish. That pattern isn't just related to Scotland. It's good to see that. We also have some over in India, which is called the Indian Madras, which came in the 16th century, which is a lightweight cotton fabric, which is good for the warmer weather. It's along the same lines as a sari, which is also something that you wear in India, but because it's quite warm, you don't really need to wear very tight-fitting warm clothes. I mean, not like we're over here in Britain where we have to wrap up really warm. But surprisingly today, while I was doing the outreach, it burned up. It got really, really warm. Here's me in my big hoodie, and it was burning. I was burning up. It's like typical, right? Oh, MLG, I see you arrived. Welcome to you here. Well, oh yes, hi Sam. I see you now. Well, I'm glad to have you here. And well, the Indian Madras fabric. It just said that it was a lightweight cotton fabric, and it's you can wear it all year round, but I think it was most popularly worn in the warmer weather because you wanted kind of a loose fitting clothing, because you don't really want too much cloth all over you when you're in India, I guess. Yes, right. It's hot all the time. I'm so glad you're here, Sam. You can clear things up, but it's got that tartany pattern, which is the important thing in this show. It's good to have that tartan pattern. I'm so glad that everybody's here. You're all wonderful people, and I really hope you're enjoying yourself. And I've still got a few other countries because we're going over to Japan with the Japanese koshi, which came into fashion in either the 17th or the 18th century. It was kind of an up in the air one when I was reading about it. It was kind of like, it's either or. But either way, it came into fashion, and they use it mostly for theatrical performance and stuff. So they kind of wear it in theatre, which I think is really good. So yeah, I don't know if it's just over in Japan where they dress in that tartan pattern, but they look really colourful when they do stuff like that. Really, really colourful. Everywhere seems to love their colours. When they get more modern versions of it, you see the colours, they all get really, really colourful with it. So yeah, I'm glad. And it's good for theatre, the koshi. Just trying to practice saying it. Sometimes it's hard to say some of these words because I am going around other countries here, even though some of the English words I struggle with. Though I feel like I speak perfect England. Yes, I do. So yeah, the Japanese koshi. Koshi. Very nice name. Then we're on to the Russian Shotlandka. It came into fashion in the 18th century. So, but I think it was just patterned. I think it was just something that people wore in Russia. If you want to wear it, you can. If you don't want to wear it, then well, it is what it is. But they're still there on the shelf. So yeah, on the shelf, probably in a market stall somewhere. Then we're on to the Maori people. Usually it was the Maori kings that wore this kind of stuff. They wore all these tartan pattern kind of plaid shirts. That was over in the Oceania area. So yeah, I suppose it was quite warm over there as well. But Oceania area is kind of where Australia is and everything like that. So hang on, I need to drink. Yeah, I love. That's it. Kill the host. I start coughing. That's wonderful of me. Yeah, I mentioned over in the United States. Yeah, I don't know if any of you answered, but if they still use the tartan pattern in the United States, do they still get that? Oh yeah, Joanne, you did a poem today, didn't you? I'm sorry, I never heard it, but apparently it was really good. But yeah, I'm glad you can share with everybody. I'm glad you can do stuff like that. I love the mailbags, even though I can't watch them all the time. But when they do happen, they're really good because you can see the interaction between everybody, and I really, really enjoy seeing that sort of thing come together. So yeah, and still on the topic of tartan, it's not all the clans and everything and stuff like that, because you've got kind of, it comes into like modern culture as well, because you've got stuff like, for example, in sport we have the Tartan Army, which came in the 1970s for the Scottish football fans. So whenever they refer to the Tartan Army, they they mean the Scotland international team. I don't know. I can understand why they say it. It's just interesting that when I found that out. But England have played Scotland a load of times, so they have mentioned that England are playing the Tartan Army today. It's like, oh, right. And on to another sport that I enjoy, the Formula One. Because we had Jackie Stewart, who was Scottish, and he wore his helmet, and he always had a kind of Scottish band around his helmet, because it was a plain white helmet, but with the Scottish band around the top part of it. And, well, Tartan also, because with Doctor Who as well, which I think nearly every single Doctor at some point went a bit Tartan-like. They all seem to want to do kind of a Scottish bit. I mean, David Tennant did a Scottish bit, but he is Scottish, so that doesn't surprise me too much. But you've got the classical Doctors who used to wear like scarves and stuff, just like tartan scarves. I think it was like Colin Baker or whoever was the fourth Doctor. I'm all over the place with that, but quite a few of them wore something tartany on them. Oh yeah, Jackie Stewart was a cracking driver. Shame I wasn't around in the time. David Tennant is from Paisley, southwest of Glasgow. Very interesting. Crank. Oh, shit, Crank's not on camera. Okay. So good. Right. So yeah, it was both the Bakers then. Both the Bakers. Yeah, they all wore some sort of tartany pattern. Also, what I read said that they did, but I think nearly all the Doctors had a go at doing the tartan type pattern. Yeah. David Tennant's dad was a Church of Scotland minister in Paisley. Oh, amazing. That's amazing. That is. I'm warmed up, but I think I'm warmed up because I keep bouncing around and stuff. But yeah, seems to be a bit of a mix. I'm doing tartan, but I'm also chatting Kitten Academy. That's kind of how it seems to go, doesn't it? I end up doing my topic, which I feel I've covered pretty much nicely, and I'm getting your input as well because I'm so grateful that you're here, Joanne. And thank you for giving me this topic. You've done amazingly chosen this topic, and the time has massively flown by because we've only got just over 10 minutes left to go. Could see you do a cooking program. I can't cook. That wouldn't help. I can't cook, but I can watch people cook. I like watching people cook because I see like TV shows, but I don't personally do the cooking part. You know, one thing that I wanted to do, I wanted to try and find something tartan. It just something tartan. I wanted to get a packet of Walker's shortbreads because I love those. They're just plain butter shortbreads. They're always so great, and they come in a nice tin. And I couldn't get any. I didn't get any for that. It was like there would be the perfect opportunity for that. Got some proper Scottish shortbread. Haggis. Oh, do you mean haggis then? Right, okay. I've never had haggis. But to be fair, it's never really appealed to me. But shortbread, definitely. But they're always nice. Kind of biscuity. So it's kind of, they call them shortbread, but they are a biscuit. Or a cookie, depending on where you're from, obviously. I'm loving it. I love it. Oh, I've been named as the biscuit boy. Oh, you've been baking again, Joanne, have you? What you been baking then? Caramelized whiskey pineapple with pancakes, butter, and apricot conserve. Also rich scones. That sounds really quite nice, actually. That does. Maybe without the whiskey and the pineapple, but I like it caramel. I like it caramelized. Caramel on pancakes. That sounds good. That does. Caramel pancakes. Maybe a bit of chocolate or something on there as well. Oh, you're making me want pudding, yeah? You're giving me a bit of a sweet tooth, yeah? But that's me. I love my sweet food. Oh, well, that's lovely. Pig bladder. Well done for saying that. Oh, right, I see where you're coming from. Cecilia mentioned. Okay. Yeah, that's what haggis is. Not my sort of thing, but I'll just take the shortbread. Oh, sticky toffee pudding. Oh, you stop taunting me with these sort of things. You monsters, you are. You're torturing me with puddings. Come on, you know I'm the pudding guy around here. I love me puddings. Puddings with some nice warm hot custard. Jaffa cakes. Oh my. Oh, my mouth's watering. Oh. You're saying all this stuff, Cecilia. You're digging your way into this. You're the one suggesting all of these foods. Banana pudding. I like a banana split. Banana splits are all right. But I'm guessing they're along the same lines. Anything, I suppose it's a pudding with banana. Banana splits are all right. I just find it, when they did it, it's a bit weird at first, because when I first had one, it was a bit weird them actually putting a full banana in it. But then I realised, well, that's what makes it a banana split. They have to put a banana in it. Of course, at first I just assumed a banana split was a banana ice cream, but silly me, I fell into that trap. But I still enjoyed it. Oh, that is all that. Oh, you are. Cecilia, are you getting really, really evil here? Because I like quite a lot of them. I love an apple pie. I love an apple crumble. Oh, I think I'd probably go with an apple crumble, because I like my auntie's version, because she does more on the crumble, less on the apple, but more on the crumble, because she tastes really nice. But oh, also love a good chocolate fudge cake or something like that. Just put some custard over that, or with some ice cream. Tell you what, I'm just going through the list of all the ones that I like, and you can just agree. Oh, I just love them all. I had a ginger cake and custard on Thursday, because we go to this Happy Days thing with the church, and I enjoyed it was a ginger cake. That was really quite nice, because I wasn't too sure about the ginger in it, but it wasn't actually that bad. I actually thought it's actually all right. You take it down with a bit of custard, it kind of lowers the effect of the ginger, but I think the ginger in it was quite low anyway, so it was fine. Oh, I just love some custard. Not had, something I've not had for a while. I've not had a rice pudding for a while. Used to have that stuff at school. It was all stodgy, but used to enjoy the chocolate buttons on top. They were always good at school. Just chuck some chocolate buttons on top, and then I used to swirl it all together, so my rice pudding always turned brown. Lemon drizzle. Eh. I'm a bit hit and miss when it comes to lemon, but I have kind of become okay with the lemon now, because because I've had like lemon cheesecake come out, because when I have the meals and stuff with the church and everything, I can't choose what it is, and sometimes I have actually brought out like a lemon drizzle cake or a lemon cheesecake, and I've still eaten them, and Sometimes even got a few extras because somebody else, other people on the table didn't want a pudding, so they were like, "Oh, you can have it. You can have this one." I think Sam, if he's still here, he might remember from an alpha meal where where everybody was giving me their desserts in the end. Everybody was just like, "Here, you can have my dessert. Here, you can have." And even then, they were giving seconds out as well, so I got more desserts. I think there was occasion where I had like 5 desserts because it was just it was a cheesecake, so I just kept getting slices and slices of cheesecake. But I'm not letting any food go to waste. No food goes to waste, especially if it's a pudding. Hot apple pie with ice cream. Ooh, you're teasing here. Oh, this has become one sweet show. I think this show has completely gone away from the tartan topic, but hey, who cares? I'm having fun now. I've given you all the information I had about the tartan. Now let's just boogie. Boogie, do the monkey with me. Key lime, for lemon. It'll still be yellow, but have an amazing flavour. Yeah. Next month's topic is actually apples, funnily enough, and that is Anna's choice. Anna chose that topic for us because what was it? You had some sort of connection to it because you used to, was it pick apples in October? I'm sure Anna will fill you all in on that one. I know there was something with you. It was actually a team agreed as well. So we all agreed with the apple festivals. Really? Have I considered that? Okay, that's cool. I don't think they're around. I'm not sure there's any going on around Derby, but hey, I like apples. I like to try and keep healthy. Some people like the alcoholic versions, yes, but I'll just have an apple straight up, or in a crumble, or in an apple pie. I'm open to it. Just give me just give me a straight apple. But hang on, I'm jumping the gun here. This is next week's topic. But I've not done any research yet, so I've got no history to give you. I'm just technically talking about apples and how I love an apple. There's no extra knowledge gained here. There's nothing about the history because I haven't researched that one yet. Because, well, I may know what an apple is, and I think everybody else knows what an apple is, but the history of an apple could go back like 20,000 years for all I know. Could have been the first apple, but I will find out and I will tell you all about it next month. So some of you probably might have already done your pre-research just to examine me when it comes round to it. But I'm just glad you're all here. I assume you've all been enjoying yourselves. You all seem to keep coming. Oh, Susan, you popped in late. Susan Morris, hello, welcome. I don't think I've seen you here live for a while, but it's nice to see you. Hello, yes, I'm glad to see you. Even though the show's only going to go on for another few minutes or so, it's still nice to see you here. I'm glad. Anybody who arrives, if you arrive late, just go back to the start and watch it again and enjoy the show. Besides, the start of the show is where I actually talk about the topic and you can learn a little bit about tartan. We kind of veered off after that. Yeah, I'm glad to hang out with you guys as well. It's you guys that keep the show running. I'd rather obviously not play an empty room, but because you guys are here, it gives great conversation, and yeah, it all works differently each month. Because we've got apples next month, and then Well, Terry isn't here right now, but in November we're doing the costumes. And then in December, it's kind of in December I'll be kind of doing a recap on this whole year. So it'll be kind of like if you missed any of the facts, I'll just kind of go through the facts and we'll just have an hour. Because some of you tend to send me a few gifts during it, though even though you don't have to, you just seem to send me stuff, so I can use that time. I'll just when it comes to December, we'll just have a little Christmas party. That's the idea I've got anyway for Christmas. Just have a nice relaxed show. We'll just chat. We'll just see how stuffed you are from your Christmas dinners and everything. We'll just have a chat about our Christmas. Just relax. I know. Oh, Deanne, don't worry if you arrive late. I'm not going to give you a ban or out like that. So don't worry. You're still here. You're still safe. I'm glad that you're here. But anyway, I'm looking at the time. We've got to an hour, and I feel like I deserve a break because I'm absolutely shattered now, and I think we've covered everything. You've enjoyed a chat about kittens. The kittens are all sleeping now, but they've had a tough mailbag. They've had a tough day of running around and causing havoc and basically being kittens. A kitten being a kitten. But anyway, thank you everybody for being here this month. And I pray that you all join me next month. So God bless everyone and thank you. And I will see you. Goodbye, everybody. I've got to go. Gotta leave you all behind to face the truth. Okay, bye.